So welcome everyone. My name is Mary Hamilton with Soul Canyon Training and Development here in Medford, Oregon. And today I am going to be doing our Lunch and Learn on managing stress in today's world. I'm here with my cohort, my partner in crime, Kevin Barrett from True North Professional Skills Development in Seattle. Kevin, want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here.
We have got, can everybody see in the Dropbox, the chat? Can they get to that Dropbox? Here, I'll just drop it back in.
Yes, they can get to it, but you're going to have to drop it in there again because chat only puts it into those that are in the room when you drop it in.
Okay, copy link. We're going to drop it back in chat. So I just dropped into chat the little handout that I do for this class. Welcome, Melissa. And Melissa, hey, I have two Melissas, both Melissa C's. Oh my gosh, one with an L, one with double L's. Welcome, welcome. So I am going to share my screen. We're going to watch some videos. I've got a video that's out on Facebook that I'm hoping I can show. It's always a challenge when we try to pull in a video from Facebook. Let me double check to make sure I have that link handy.
And in the meantime, I'll tell everybody that if you do have questions along the way, since we have a small group, feel free to unmute, or if you would prefer, go ahead and drop it into chat. I'll be monitoring that as we go and make sure that Mary gets the questions.
Thank you, Kevin. This is why you should never Zoom alone. I often Zoom alone and it's really challenging.
Yes.
Because things happen and you're not seeing them when you're presenting because you're in presenter mode. And so if there's a problem or something, or you get dropped out, kicked out, whatever Zoom tries to do to you, Kevin will be there to let you back in. He's my co-host as well as my co-host, partner in crime. We started this Zoom training during COVID when we were so bored. We were not able to have live trainings anymore. We said, hey, we'll just provide training for free. And it has stuck. So welcome to year number 5, Kevin, is that correct?
Yeah, this is the 5th year. Wow.
Holy
Crazy.
smokes. And some of you have been with us from the very, very beginning. So thank you. Like I said, I'm going to share this screen now that I got everything figured out. I think it's technology, and we found that technology can just really seriously mess us up. Lately, I have no idea. What is that saying? Nobody can screw things up like a computer. Nice. Very true. So you should be seeing the screen with managing stress in today's world with Kevin and I there.
It is there.
This is pulled from, I have to apologize for my 1-year-old lab puppy who thinks he should be in my lap, and it makes my chair roll.
Actually, Mary, we're seeing your presenter view, not the slideshow.
Huh. Really? Oh gosh. Okay. So let me figure this one out. Zoom. Move this window away.
I see the slideshow.
You do?
I do. Managing stress in today's world with your guys' picture.
Yeah, it's not showing up full screen. It's you're actually seeing her presenter view instead of.
Got it.
Yeah, no worries.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's really cancel that. Minimize that. Cancel that. And go back to Zoom. Huh. That is strange. I am having real struggles with this today. Like I said, it's been one of those days where technology has just rattled me. The share. We're going to stop the share and start it all over again and see if that works. Oh. No, buddy. Makes mom crazy. Stop that share. Reshare. Now is it working?
We're still getting your presenter view, but it'll work.
Yeah. Well, sorry about that. So this is from our Managing Stress and Mastering Change program, which is a full half-day training, talking about how do you reimagine stress and how do you address stress in a different way. So many times people tell us when we're under stress, they're actually after our behavior. They tell you to quit doing that. And that's not really how it works. We are humans, and every human has feelings. We're hardwired to take things personal. Our goal is to learn to manage them in the workplace so that we can be more happy and productive and healthier human beings. Understanding your own emotions is huge. Understanding that, yes, you're happy, but there's different levels of happiness, aren't there? There's different levels of sadness. There's different levels of angry. There's different levels of being afraid, and there's different levels of feeling ashamed. There's a real reason why we need to address this stuff, and that is that 75% of your careers, according to SHRM, Society of Human Resource Managers, are derailed by the inability to handle stress or pressure in a positive way. The inability to see things through when it gets tough, which is also a sign of stress. Inability to handle impulses. We all get angry. But really anger is not a primary emotion. It's a secondary emotion, and it's caused by lots of different things. And so rather than overreacting,
that was an overreaction.
we've got to learn to manage our emotions, or they end up controlling us. Get down, get down. So when we talk about going into fight or flight, when we talk about what it looks like to be a human being, every one of us has this built-in mechanism that is supposed to keep us safe. We go into fight or flight because something's threatening our life. The problem is, in most of our situations these days, when we go into fight or flight, nothing's really threatening our life. But to understand that this is how humans experience it, that computer not working right, this technology issue can come across like a bear, right? It can come across like some big scary thing that is going to cause us this life or death situation. And what happens to our bodies when we go into fight or flight? We can't stop it. So part of trying to figure out how to manage stress in today's world is trying to figure out how to view it that it's not life-threatening. Because once that adrenaline is released, your body's like basically on hostage. It's actually having to go through this whole process. So the oxygenated blood runs out to your extremities, so you can fight or you can run away, or the one that very few people talk about is freeze. And when you freeze, which is a lot of people's response, your body is sabotaged. I've got a really great video that I want to share with you, and I'm hoping we'll be able to do this. It's going to be a little bit of a technical challenge, I think, but I believe it's really important for us to take a look at it from really, we got to go through the whole process. Sorry, guys. Really, I've got to tell myself I'm not a robot. There are stairs. Boom, 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 boom. Next. Don't you love Meta now? They're invading my entire life. Sure. Please try again. I didn't get the buses right. Anybody besides me under stress, not able to handle things well? Oh, no, you're kidding me. See, Kevin, this is what I was worried about. I wanted that video so I could download it into my thing. Download it right directly into my presentation, which would be the best. Oh, no. It's not gonna let me do it. Sorry, we're gonna go back to, we're just gonna go back to my share. So I will go through what Sophia tells in her story. And that is this, that come on, thing go. And that is this, that when we go into freeze, our nervous system actually goes into what they call overwhelm, or what she calls overwhelm. We go numb. We go numb. We feel stuck. Our anxiety levels go up. And one of the biggest contributing factors, they say, in today's world of this overwhelmness and this stuck and this high anxiety is a toxic work system, work environment, feeling like you're not safe, that at any moment you can, and this is real timely based on what's happening in today's world, is that at any given moment, your job could be gone, you know? And so we go into this fight or flight place where, oh my gosh, if I lose my job, I'm going to lose my home. I'm going to die in the streets with a cat. And we go into this place where when we're in fight or flight and freeze, our prefrontal lobe is not accessible, which means that we're on instinct, habit, and programming. And some of us don't have the best instincts, habits, and programming installed in our brains. We also have blinders on, so we can't see things around us. We can't see opportunities. We can't see others, and we are just narrow focused on survival. And so my friend Sophia in Ashland has this fabulous program that she's teaching. It's somatic nervous system regulation. It's breaking through overwhelm. And I was just sharing with Kevin how much that was. I went through just the one class. She also has extended classes, but talking about movement and how your vagus nerve and your breath can help you get over that, help you get through that feeling of stuck and feeling like everything is out to get you. We are seriously hardwired to run ourselves into this fight or flight place because humans are small compared to like things. There's a lot of things that can kill us out there, right? And so we're hardwired in order to survive to be looking for danger. And so when you talk about Maslow's hierarchy of need, he talks about the fact that first of all, you got it. Eddie, please stop it. You got to feel like you're safe, that you'll be okay. And then you enter society. But until you feel safe and feel like you're not on survival mode, you're not going to be able to take care of other people. You're not going to be able to fit into society as well as you possibly could. And you're certainly not going to be able to feel good about yourself or reach self-actualization. Our emotions can be super powerful allies, or they can be destructive enemies. And depending on how we manage them, the choice is ours. And so when we're in fight or flight, when we feel threatened, oftentimes we feel angry. We feel high anxiety, which shows up as anger in most people. And Aristotle said this: anyone can become angry. That's easy. But to be angry at the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that's not easy. And so when that fight or flight kicks in, when that energy kicks in, where you feel like I'm stuck, or I'm trapped, or I'm not worthy, or people are out to get me, or I can't take it anymore. You've got to figure out a way to get a breath. When Viktor Frankl in his book, Man's Search for Meaning said, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our ability and our choice to choose our response. And in that choice lies our growth and our freedom. He's talking about his experience in Auschwitz. He was a Holocaust survivor. And he came up with this fabulous program called lognotherapy, which is re-scripting your interpretation of what's happening around you and choosing a different behavior and a different response in order to survive, and in order to improve, and in order to thrive. So he said, you need to be able to create a space. The best way to create a space between that attack or that feeling is to get a breath. And that's why Sophia's class, they do a lot of breath work. She does a lot of breath work, and she does a lot of exhaling, because what happens when we go into fight or flight, we hold our breath, which is good, because in fight or flight, there's certain things that can kill you, like smoke, you should hold your breath. Like falling in water, you should hold your breath. A dangerous animal coming around you, you should hold your breath so they don't hear you, right? So holding your breath is a natural response, but you got to figure out a way to let it out, let it in. And when that stress hits you, you got to be able to ask yourself some questions. How bad is this situation really? Because I've seen people totally lose it over little teeny things. How do I feel about this? What do I want to do about it? And what resources do I have to put to it? And what do I have control over? Because there are things you don't have control over, and there's nothing you can do to fix something that you don't have control over. Anybody got any thoughts on that one? There's a whole bunch of information, boom, all at once. Are you all still there? You're all still there. Nobody said anything. So, have any of you ever felt totally freaked out over something that ultimately ended up being not a big deal?
Never.
Your body does the exact same thing. When you relive that experience, whatever it is in your head, you feel the exact same thing. I was on a podcast and just recently, and she was talking about something that was really an extreme situation that I went through. And I had to stop the podcast. I said, I can't go through. I have to stop. And you have to stop, because it's going to take me all the way back to that place that I don't want to go to. I'm past that now. But if I go back and I relive it over and over and over, I feel it all again. And it hurts, and I don't want to be there. So I have to leave that in the trail of life, because if I continue to visit that damn thing, it's going to take me down again. Anybody been there? Stop the reel. Stop it. Cut the film. You can't go back and fix. All you can do is go forward. And so when you find yourself revisiting that space, you've got to figure out a way to stop, to get a breath, and to ask yourself, what do I have control over? I have control over not visiting that space again. I have control over, that's my past. There's nothing I can do to fix it. All I can do is go forward. And if I don't go forward, I'm going to be stuck in this hell, right? And so many times we find ourselves reliving this horrible place, this horrible experience, and over and over and over, and we wonder why we're so stuck. You have a choice, and in that choice lies your freedom. So choose wisely, my friends.
Mary, isn't there a point though where you're through?
That's where I'm,
Like
that's
where
what
you've gotten through, and then it's like nearly it takes work to relive that. Like you actually have to actively put yourself back into that situation. And even then you feel it as an observer versus like you were there. I find that for me, like the most emotional parts of my life, I get to a point where I'm through.
Yes, eventually, but
It takes time.
there's some places, there's some dark places in your life that will come back if you dig deep enough. You know, I'm talking about pain of loss. I'm talking
I
about
also don't like to
those.
dig that deep.
Well, see, and that's where I made her stop because she was digging deep. And I just said, stop, I can't go that far. I can't, I'm this far and I'm not gonna go any further. Because if I dig all that stuff up, then it's like, digging bodies up, I guess, for lack of a better analogy, digging up the bones and the skeletons of now I have to relive this stuff again because now I'm gonna have to fill that hole back in. You know what I mean? With more positive stuff. And so, those are things that I have control over. I can put boundaries around people. There are toxic people out there that I think really enjoy poking and prodding your pain so that they feel justified in their pain or their situation. And so, boundaries are one of those resources that I think you can put towards it. You can put other people towards it. What I wanted to do about it was I didn't want to go there anymore. So those were my choices. We have free will. So we can choose to, and I'm not talking about ignoring the situation because one of my most powerful tools that I use is journaling. And so if I don't want to behave a certain way, if I don't want to, I journal it. And then there's a ceremony I go through when something has happened that's really bad or toxic, I will journal it and then I will crumble it up and I will burn it and just let it go. And then I'm not going back there because I can't fix that anyway. I can take it as a lesson. I can take it as a learning and move forward. But the problem that most people have is that they stay stuck there, and they stay stuck there oftentimes for years and years and years. Most people say to themselves, I don't want to act that way anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be that anymore. And so if what you're after is change, if you don't want to feel that stress, if you don't want to do that anymore, I've got some tools that I'm going to share with you. But we're also going to talk about some hot buttons that you have, because those are buttons that people push, if you know what I mean. They'll push up against them, and then you run that reel again, and you do that thing again. So the tools some of you have seen about addressing your hot spots is really taking a look at yourself in the mirror and what you're contributing to it and how it's affecting you. Journal it. But being able to switch your mentality to why is this happening to me, that victim mentality, to what is this trying to teach me? It's a game changer. When I started journaling that direction, instead of saying, why is this terrible stuff keep happening to me? What is it trying to teach me? One of the things I stole off of Facebook was this, how to feel instantly better. And I thought, I'm going to test it out and see if it works. And by God, they're right. Sometimes Facebook is really brilliant. When you're angry, sing. I'm serious. If you're angry, try singing. It will change your attitude. I mean, I guess it depends on what song you sing, but if you're burned out, go for a walk. Instead of taking a nap, go for a walk. If you're overthinking, if you're locked up and overthinking, write, journal it all out. If you're anxious, breathe. If you're stressed, exercise. If you're sad, be thankful for what you've got, because there's always something to be thankful for. I spend my first part of my morning doing a gratitude exercise. And lately I've been getting text messages from my mother about her computer being broken, because she starts her computer at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I have to realize that, okay, I'm grateful she's still here. I'm grateful she's interested enough and active enough to be on the computer. I'm grateful I can put her off for the next 4 hours while I do my thing, and I'll eventually get around to helping her. I'm glad she's 5 minutes away. Instead of feeling like totally stressed out over it, I'm thankful. But I have to put it into perspective. lazy. I don't think I feel lazy very often, but I guess if you do take a cold shower, impatient, I'm definitely impatient. I have to take a look at how far I've come often because I think I should already be there by now. If anybody's like me, that high driven, why haven't I achieved all of that yet? Reflect on how far you've actually come. Here's another one. I stole off of Facebook. Self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do. Simple discipline enables you to think first and act afterwards. Napoleon Hill. How many of you have read Think and Grow Rich? I mean, I read it back in the 80s. If you read the books in the 80s, the print is super small. One of my favorite ways of controlling my emotions is this. I put myself in timeout. How many of you put yourselves in timeout? I put myself in timeout often. I don't necessarily mean go get a massage. I know we were talking about that earlier before the class started. Massage is a great way to relax, but not often do we get it just like, okay, never mind, I'm going to go get a massage because you people are stressing me out. But going for a walk around the block, saying, you know what, I need a minute to think about it is what I'm talking about for timeout. You know what? Let's get back together after lunch and let's talk this through. My house is filled with lavender, despite the fact my daughter and my granddaughter are allergic to lavender. They have to take Benadryl when they come to my house. But lavender is such a great relaxation. Walking the lavender fields. One of the things that I think can cause you stress or keep you from getting stressed out is knowledge. So the more you know, the more you're worth. The more you know, oftentimes the more concerned you are. But knowledge is a gift. And if you go digging for knowledge, the more you know, the less you worry about how you can do things. So I don't know about you, but I get stressed out, or I used to get really stressed out over Microsoft Excel. I jokingly tell people I fell in love with my husband over an Excel spreadsheet, which is not too far from the truth. I was about ready to quit my job and join the Peace Corps over an Excel spreadsheet. So a little bit, you know, the fight or flight. I'm a flight girl. I was definitely leaving the planet. But knowledge is something that I think is really important. And I think that oftentimes we react to Facebook posts and different things, and we don't have the knowledge. So dig deep and respond from knowledge instead of from emotion. Remember to take a breath. We were talking about pets before this thing started, and Buddy jumped up here a couple of times, so you know I've got Mr. Buddy here. Pets are a really great way to relax and to reduce stress. Mine add a bit of stress, but it's a different type of stress. I just read an article from Japan. They did a study about plants. And I will tell you that plants are good for you. They give out oxygen. They take our carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen. Their studies have shown that people with plants around them are happier. What else makes you guys happy? And less stressed? Anyone? There's a chat.
Being around friends.
Sunshine, children giggling, and friends. Yes. All of the above. Tiffany, were you going to say something?
Oh, I said food.
Food.
Food brings me
makes-
joy.
Food makes me happy. Another thing is giving to other people, doing things for others. You know, I joined Keller Williams as a real estate agent this year, last year, guess I'm right out a year. And one of the things is we do Red Day, which is we give back to the community. So every May 9th, we do a Red Day, which means we do some community project. But I'm involved in all kinds of things. This is us at the Derby for the Junior League, where we're raising money by doing something fun. Hobbies. Notice I have Rob's cutting board, not mine. These are so much mine. I don't know why, but we gave everybody cutting boards for Christmas. Spending time with friends, with your significant other. I think this is one of the best things that I have brought into my life is this intensity scale. Because the way that I was raised by a mother, and she'll freely admit this, where she has a lot of emotion. Hers are very intense emotion. So she loves a lot and she hates a lot. And she blows up and she's very moody. And she's always said, well, that's because I'm Irish. And that was her excuse. Well, I grew up thinking that you do everything with intensity, right? And that's not really the case. Sometimes things are nothing at all. They're like a hangnail. Although hangnails can be annoying, they're not life or death. And oftentimes what happens is if you find yourself a stressful person, or if you find yourself being stressed, chances are you're imagining things as life or death. You're imagining things as a really big deal when, like, if you look back 10 years from now, you wouldn't remember it. So save your energy for the stuff that's really, really big. And let the other stuff go like water over a duck's back. I have this paper again, but I also think it's really important that we stay in touch with people. You know, we've become such a mobile society that we oftentimes lose connection with our friends and our family and people that we were close to. And I think staying that community connectedness is really important for us. That as human beings, I think we need to feel like we're part of a tribe. I'm going to have an opportunity to show houses to somebody I went to high school with. We're almost at our 50th high school reunion. And we've reconnected through Facebook. And then I went and visited her when I was traveling around the country doing trainings and stuff. But I mean, these are people who knew you back in the day. And oftentimes it's really reassuring to feel connected.
Hey, Mary, can I share something real quick?
Please.
So at the beginning of the year, a woman that I have been mostly involved with through social media, and she actually had a co-working place that I worked out of as well. But she posted on Facebook asking people for what their word of the year was. And I never have a word of the year, but this year I just happened to have a word for myself. And so I posted it. She took, for every person that responded to her, she used this incredible skill that she has at making cards. And she got the letters from Scrabble letters. And she made a card for each individual of their word of the year, pasted those on the front of the card, and then wrote on the inside just a really lovely note, and then mailed that to everybody. So I got this mail from Tracy Warren, and I was like, what the heck? Why am I getting something from her? And I opened it up, and I was absolutely overwhelmed by what a magnificent thing this was to send me my word of the year on a card with a lovely note from her on the inside. What a difference that made. It just completely made not only my day, but my entire month. I was going through a lot of challenging stress at the time, and it was really, really great to get that card. So I thought I'd share that.
Are you going to share us your word?
Oh, sure. My word was grace because of all the stress that I was under. I felt like I got to give myself grace. Like I can only do so much. And so yeah, that's my word of this year.
I love that. That was my word for a number of years was grace. I kept it for a couple of years and I actually made it a acronym for grounded, relaxed. Where'd my mind go? See that stress, right? When you find yourself like not thinking,
Yeah.
trying to remember,
I've had a
but
lot.
yeah. So I'll have to get that acronym to you because that was something that I just really felt was a great word. So I love that word for you, Kevin. Grace.
Yeah.
And
And it just
and
the whole thing of getting that card was just really it just really helped me with my stress.
the thoughtfulness of others. And so that's part of that being being part of being aware of what other people are going through, you know, that gratitude that, you know, the gratitude that I do, gratitude journal that I do every day is all about taking it from me being all about me and oh, poor pitiful me, because I've got this little problem, I've got this problem here to like, there's been lots of examples. Like we just had an earthquake in Thailand. Like, I'm sorry, I would love to complain about the weather because I'm ready for sunshine, but I don't have an earthquake, right? I don't have my neighbors buried in buildings. So for goodness sakes, put yourself in a happier mood. With this, the glass is half empty. The glass is refillable. Refill your glass. And if at all possible, share the bottle with somebody else. Right? When you're feeling stressed, that whole, put on some good music and sing, pick yourself up, right? You can recharge your batteries. I think oftentimes what happens is for me, a lot of times, oh my goodness, what happens is we're not doing what we need to have happen for our soul. We're not doing what fills us. And so we're running on half empty. We're feeling that the stress has drained us. There's a real drain that happens with stress. Like your body runs through, when it gets stressed, it has this chemical reaction. And so once the stress gets through, your body's filled with cortisol, and cortisol tells you you need to eat and sleep. So if you're feeling like you need to eat and you need to sleep, you're probably under too much stress. So being able to take yourself out of that stressful situation, fill your life with giggling kids. Like, I don't have any kids. We say at large that everyone has an emotional bank account. It's up to you to keep it filled. Yeah, definitely, Liz. You have to be able to fill your bank, but like Kevin pointed out, you can help fill somebody else's bank, right? You can help give somebody else. The whole pay it forward thing that you can do is so powerful. Every year we do bell ringing for the Salvation Army. One of our local businesses does a fundraiser where you bring in peanut butter and jelly and they put windshield wipers on your car for you. So it helps fill the food bank. I find that whenever that stress feels like I can't take it anymore, it's time for me to go into timeout and say, how bad is it really? What can I do? What resources can I put towards it? I'm going to go grab 2 cups of coffee and find somebody to give one to. That is super fun. I have a friend of mine that goes and gets a bouquet of flowers, those really cheap ones that you can get when they mark them down because they're like $4 for a dozen or what, for like this bunch. And she carries them around and gives them to people. I mean, just random people, she'll walk up and give them a flower. How cool is that? That changes your world.
It does. Simon Sinek tells this story about how I think he was in Toronto and he had a folder with a bunch of papers in it, and he dropped the folder and the papers went all over, and somebody came up to him and just gathered up all those papers, and he said to him, "Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it." And then he said he walked down the block and somebody else said to him, "Wow, that was really nice of that person to pick up those papers for you and put them back in the folder." And he said, and I suddenly realized I got happiness out of it. The person who picked up the papers got happiness out of it, and somebody who witnessed the person who picked up the papers got happiness out of it. So those little things like you're mentioning, Mary, I think are just so important, because when we give, we also get back, right?
Oh, I love that, Lisa. When I go through McDonald's for my coffee, I pay it forward by paying for the car behind me. That is so cool. Yeah, there's so many opportunities to when you can find yourself a moment to take that breath, when that instant stress starts happening, when your shoulders go up around your ears. If you can train yourself when that starts happening, like you start looking like a turtle, to take an exhale out, right? Let it out. And then ask yourself, how bad is it really? What do I want to do about it? I have worked with people that carry stress, that share their stress with others. If you've ever been in that environment, the best thing you can do is take yourself and put yourself in timeout away from them. Not, I need to get away from you, but just say, hey, I'm going to go for a quick walk and get out. Because the energy is contagious. And if you've got negative energy, if you come through the door and you've got like this wake of negativity with you, you're going to contaminate everybody. I used to have a manager that used to come up to you and she'd say, you need to go take a break. Okay. Thank you. Because I'm going to kill somebody right this second, because we get this stress going and it's, everybody can see it. They can see it on your face. They can see it in your body language. And then they're like, is it me? Am I doing, and the whole mood of everybody changes. So if you can bring that light, and if you don't have a light, go find it. Go out to the sunshine, go pet a dog, go do something.
Turn off the news.
Turn off the news. Yes, it's freaking me out. I don't want to hear it anymore. I think I have faith in humans. I have faith in humans. And so I think we'll get through this. It just can be a really challenging time. We'll just see where it goes, but realize that person that you're interacting with might just now realize, it might have found out they lost their job, might have found out their child has cancer, might find out that they wrecked their car, or, they may be going through some big thing. So try not to take your little thing and make everybody else's big stuff seem just as bad. I mean, your stuff seem just as bad as their big stuff. Like I said, we don't have, my buildings haven't fallen down around me. I don't have a flood. I can be grateful that I've got electricity. There's always something that we can be thankful for. And if we can just put ourselves in that place of gratitude and look outside of ourselves, oftentimes we can find that stress is not necessary. It's more detrimental. And if you can't let go of the stuff that's happened in your past, you got to figure out a way to get it out of you, because it will toxically kill you. It makes us old before our time, and it makes us sick and crazy. So get rid of it.
Mary, my
Yes.
favorite thing to be grateful for, it's so basic and so ridiculous, but if you think about it, it's so vitally, is water.
Oh,
We
I
have
love
clean
water.
There are so many people around the world that literally have no clean water or have to walk miles and miles, huge amount of gratitude around it. And it's always there.
Yeah. Turn on the faucet, turn on the electricity, turn on the music. talk to Siri or Google and play some music. Like there's some go-to music that if I'm feeling like totally stressed out, it only takes 2 minutes. Most songs are like 2 to 5 minutes, you know, at the most, right? So just crank up the tunes for a second. I have a coworker of mine that has those little earbuds in all the time. Never know if she's talking to me or talking to somebody else, which is another different challenge. But sometimes when I talk to her, she doesn't hear me. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, but half the time it's music. She's got music going in her ears and she's not hearing what anybody says around her because apparently other people stress her out. But if it's really important, people will stop you and get your attention. So crank your own tunes. Kevin, don't we have we have an Excel class coming up, don't we, on the 15th of April?
Yes,
You're
we
muted.
do. Let's see.
It's level 3.
Yeah, good one.
Excel level 3. So if you need some Excel help, we got that coming up. And then Kevin, can you tell us about next month?
Oh yeah, sure. So let me do that real quick. I'm gonna just bring up a little slide so you can see. So
I was gonna-
next month, and I don't have the date right off the top of my head, Mary. So if you want to look at that, but back last November, I did a thing about building your brand, which was really went across building your own personal brand primarily, but it works as well if you're running some kind of a business and you want to build your brand as well. So we're going to do part 2. I actually have 2 experts that I'm going to have with a panel to talk a little bit about what are some of the key things that you need to think about to promote yourself and your brand, and how do you figure out what is your brand, and how do you make sure that people understand what your brand is. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be really good.
May
That
7th.
is April 7th?
May.
Oh, 8th. Okay. At
May
11
May 7.
or at noon. Yes.
May 7 at noon.
Oh, May. Yes, it's already April.
That's
Okay.
why I'm like, it's
May
April
7th
already.
at noon.
Yes. So that's pretty much it for today. I'm gonna sign us off a little bit early, which is another blessing, I think, unless anybody has something they want to add to our conversation.
Yo, so how do you get into the branding one?
So Angelo, I will send you a link because I sent you a link for this one. I'll send you a link for next month.
Sure, sounds good.
All righty. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Tiff. I'll see you soon, okay?
Thanks, you
Yeah.
guys. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye. So I'm gonna run away because I gotta use the restroom really bad.
Okay.
I was like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, indeed.
But I think it was good.
Yeah, it was good. All right.